to welcome you once again into Life Ending Policy Dialogue with ADP. As you are all aware, Life Ending is a project of the federal government of Nigeria that is initiated between and designed in collaboration with NDDC and International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD. It is a project that has come in response to the limited available options for agricultural investment among our rural youth and women. It is a project that promotes community-based, on-farm, off-farm business activity. This is expected that as we go on, this mechanism is going to help us to move away, to be able to have decent living, as well as have means of livelihood that are good for them, to enable them to come out appropriately well. So once again, we welcome you, even as I use this opportunity to introduce our men at the high table, the Honorable Commissioner. We have the State Project Coordinator, Steiner Setogui. We have the National Rural Institutional Gender and Youth Coordinator for the whole Niger Delta State, Dr. Clem Uwem. Good morning, everyone. And we have the Program Manager, ADP here. Sir, you're welcome. On that note, I would like
respectable to the high table. I am Andrew Bassi, Head of Administration, ADP.
Philip Eken, Director, Manpower Development and Training.
I am Ambassador Udeofen, Desk Officer, IFAD.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Emmanuel Oyorika, Financial Controller at ADP.
I am Agric, ADP, we are.
I am Oga Okora Oyama, Zonal Extension Officer, Ogoja.
After John Agabi, SMS Crops, Ogoja Zone.
Cletus Ubidi, Director Extension, Cross River AD, or Director Technical Services, Cross River AD.
SMS Livestock, Ogoja Zone. Ogoja Zone, yeah.
I am Bernard Loma Agom, SMS Fisheries, Ogoja Zone.
I am Obanga Kubi Eyon, Zonal Manager of Ogoja.
SMS Fisheries, Calabaza.
I am Eche Yenya, Zonal Extension Officer, Calabazo.
SMS, we are Calabazo.
Bassi Mogori, Director RICRD.
officers. Please introduce yourself.
Good morning, everybody. I am Iwo Mike Edex. I'm the Rural Institution Gender and Youth Officer.
I'm Daudi Konga, Monitoring Evaluation Officer for Life ND Project, Cross River State.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the dialogue. My name is Bassi Edon, the State Procurement Officer.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Augustine Jones. I'm the State Internal Auditor.
Good morning, everybody. I am Felix Salobo, Admin and Logistics. Good morning, all. I'm Helen Ifyo, the State Agric Promotion Officer, Life Ending.
Overcome.
Amen.
Before long, we had COVID. And the aftermath of COVID are supposed to stay to do business is destroyed. As I speak, the ADP headquarters, it's in use. And I wonder how productive one is expected to be when it does not have shelter. And this is a vital component in our development. But we are not under the sun. Right now, we're in the hall. When we get to the farms, we'll be under the sun. And we will combine that mix very well. I think very soon we'll have where we can sit down and discuss comfortably. So today, I see that we won't spend so much time, but the much time we put together, at the end of it, we should be able to come up with a communique that will be far-reaching and that will drive our partnership going forward. So, I enjoyed all of you who have come around to give me your best. Give us from your reservoir of experience what we should do. And we'll cross-fertilize our ideas to come up with something that will stand the test of time. And I once again welcome all of you and wish all of us very fruitful and successful celebrations.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. The Honorable Commissioner represented here by the Director, Administration, our very distinguished and capacity State Project Coordinator, Life ND, the program
committed members of the press, I hereby recognize members of the press. One American president once said, I'd rather run a government without something and not without the press. The press is very important, so I have to recognize. We are here for a very important assignment.
It's so important that the donor of Life in the Project, IFAD, is interested and will get an attendance of all of us that are here in this meeting today. And whatever deliberations we come up with will form the basis for implementing extension activity under the Life ND project. Just like our SPC said, agricultural development had been in phases, and ADP is well aware of all these phases. But because the world is now experiencing a retraction of the economy, the global economy seems to have failed, and it seems that only agriculture can redeem the global economy. And so the way agriculture is now practiced is towards agricultural business. And so the model formed, just like the SPC said, of having the incubation model is now starting with the Life ND in the Niger Delta. So, and we cannot afford to fail, because the Life ND project will be replicated in other regions. Now, today is Life ND. Tomorrow, it will be Life NC, North Central. Next, it will be Life NA, Northeast, and so on and so forth. So we are glad to be the pioneer. And so we have a chance to have all the experiences that will bring to bear as the nation tries to reduce unemployment through the use of agriculture. I bring you good tidings from the National Project Coordinator, who is also very passionate about the success of this activity. On January 18th, we engaged all the 9 ADP program managers in the Niger Delta and promised them that Life ND cannot pretend to succeed without extension. And not just that extension, we're talking about the government's run extension, which all of you will agree with me has suffered serious serial neglects. And so much is expected. So sometimes we begin to ask ourselves, we want to increase food production. We want to meet sustainable development goal of zero hunger. And yet your agricultural systems does not support extension. How would that happen? Of course, you and I know that it's close to not happening. But research has shown that 25% of yield can be increased when farmers adopt technology. And we also know that in Nigeria, there is no organization that has a better reservoir of agricultural technologies better than the ADP. None. No matter the amount of money you put, none. So when the PM was trying to introduce and tell me that ADP has capacity, sir, I know as much as you do. ADP needs no introduction. ADP is a brand anywhere. Sadly, it has not been supported. In 2015, I did a study in Benue State. And to my greatest surprise, I discovered that the whole of Makurdi, the capital of Benue State, has a single extension agent. And the area that extension agent was to cover was 20 kilometers radius. So my conclusion was that it was better to buy a coffin for that staff and keep for when he or she will die than assign him or her to such assignment. And so what am I trying to say? The farmer extension ratio keeps widening and become unrealistic. Attention has not been paid to ADP. But what we are coming to dialogue with you today is to tell you that Life ND recognizes the invaluable role that ADP has played over the years. And so we are not going to allow that benefits you have in terms of knowledge to be wasted. We are going to partner with you. We may not have all the resources to assist ADP, but in areas we are going to, based on the agreement we do, we are going to make sure as much as possible that what needs to be done to encourage the ADP is done. And I know that you have had a number of trainings, but you know, learning continues. We will continue to identify areas of mutual benefit and make sure we also provide such training. Part of what we agree in our MOU is that Life ND, in the course of collaboration, will support the research extension farmers linkage input system, which is very. And so part of what will also help us do will be to give us some kind of data that will help us in deciding how we could do the support. Because good enough, we are reviewing our budget. So some of these activities can be captured in our budget so that we can go in and see how to honestly assist the ADP to succeed. Because just like you know, before now, research was standing alone, farmers were on their own, extension were doing their best, there were no linkage until we discovered the refuse. Now, part of our collaboration will also be to support trials that will also mutually benefit us. ADP is known to have carried out trials from the days of outdated SPATs to the management plots adoption techniques, which looks more realistic, and this journey continues. Monthly training reviews and the fortnightly training meetings. Now, what we are going to discuss today will be for you to focus your attention on the commodities that we are promoting so that we can have that mutual benefits. We need that. We know what ADP has been doing and want to tap from that. We have not less than 30 persons in this hall. Am I correct? Let me say conservatively 25 persons, not less than 25. Now, if each person has for food, we trust that any technology that is brought to the notice of ADP, the rate of adoption will be very high because we have ADP everywhere in the nooks and crannies of crossover. Sometimes I challenge NTA. NTA say you cannot beat the rich, but I tell you that the real people who cannot beat the rich is ADP because they're everywhere. So on that note, I thank you. God bless you. Our incubatees that are graduating, to enable them successfully carry out this production. Because these young people, as they are coming into agriculture, if they have any single failure, they may run away. And so in addition to these core areas, we also have areas like gender mainstreaming, climate change, and nutrition. And in nutrition, we are trying to promote the establishment of homegrown gardening so that the nutrition aspect of the family will be catered for. Because part of the sustainable development goal is to ensure that people's consumption pattern tilt towards good nutrition. So in climate change, you also know we are in the Niger Delta, a very fragile environment. In some of the places we started our activities, we do planting of trees that can absorb carbon, and those that have the capacity to fix nitrogen into the soil. So among the ADP personnel, there are people who are into agroforestry. They will also be able to tell us some of the things we are going to do as extension agents to help our incubation center to have a safe environment. All of us know that today one of the greatest problems of mankind is climate change. All over the world, people are fighting here and there. Some countries are withdrawing, they don't want to be part of treaties and so on. But the problem has come to stay with us. Onset of rain, intensity of sunlight, sea level rise, flooding are all evidence that climate change is with us. So we also need to tap from the reservoir of ADP, the things we can do in our climate change activities. As I speak to you, we have a 100-day implementation plan on climate change, which will also lay bare to you, which will also help us. So what we are going to do, we'll break into session shortly after now. And we'll have people who will take up cassava production. So in cassava production, you will help us tell us those extension activities you will do, beginning from even selection of sites down to harvesting and value addition. In Life ND, we have unbundled our value chain to the extent that we expect that some of the youth that may not have big land mass to go into production can go into stem multiplication. Our SAPA in Cross River just came back from rice multiplication training. So those who may not have enough big land can multiply rice seeds. So what are you going to do to help us in each of these enterprises is our major dialogue today. But after saying all of this, our incubatees are also farmers. They will continue to enjoy the normal extension services provided by ADP. It does not foreclose that. But we are also trying to make our relationship more formal, so that if we have need to come to you and ask you, please, we want you to run some trials for us on crops that have been neglected. Because even as I speak, the people in charge of nutrition will try to identify crops that grow locally, which have high nutrition value. Because part of the black man's problem has been to copy the whites. Sometimes the rice we are consuming from abroad are not as nutritious as our local rice. But we have taste for, foreign things. While we have a richer local things that can solve our problem. So again, you are going to help us solve that problem by going down deep. And at the end, each group will now do a brief presentation of which we are going to now write our community based on that and come up. Shortly after now, and before we leave, we'll try to identify the training needs of our village extension agents. Granted that we want you to help us, if in the course of posting in the 10 local governments, and we realize that we are going to need more people to do work, or people can be moved from here and there, our training of extension agents may go beyond the number we need. For instance, in other states, we look for 2 extension agents per local government. That translates to 5 communities attached to 1 extension agent. Or let me say 5 incubation centers attached to 1 extension agent. But if we are going to do a training, we go beyond training 20 extension agents so that we have a pool of well-qualified and knowledgeable people about our project that we can draw from time to time. So this is why we are here. And we trust that with the confidence you have in us, we are going to have a good and robust engagement. But let me also drop this note. Extension have changed to a level where businesses are thriving because of technology. In Edo State, we don't have a single extension agent. There is no extension agent in Edo State, but there are zonal extension officers, block extension officers, zonal manager up. Not even a single extension agent in Edo State. That is what I got. I got it on good authority. Now, we have another state, we have other states. Now, a colleague of mine planted oil palm and later introduced cocoa into the farm. After 3 years, the cocoa started fruiting and yielding. Somehow, by accident, she introduced bee farming into the plot of land. And what she discovered was that the yield of cocoa tripled. She now shouted and discovered that these unpaid workers called bees were responsible for the increase in the crop which she planted.
I thought we were already in the technical session, and somehow I was happy because even as I'm sitting down here, I have messages for 2 meetings going on already. So as soon as I declare the dialogue open, I'll be leaving us. So it's like I didn't miss so much what I thought I would miss completely because of the analysis of the RIC. Please, we are all matured. We know why we are here. We've left our homes far to come and gather here this morning. And I just hope and pray that we'll be very serious with what has brought us here, so that at the end of the day, whatever that will be the outcome of the dialogue will be to the benefit of all of us. And on that note, I declare the policy dialogue open.
Private extension operators have come into the system, some of them without knowledge of extension. And so there is need for ADP to be revived and made to regulate the activities of private extension practitioners so that we can get the right result, because some of the extension messages that are going out are unethical. People are using snipers to preserve meats. People are using calcium carbide to ripen fruits. These are things that ADP will not allow if they are given the right opportunity to regulate extension activities.
Okay, sir. Finally, how do you intend to drive this vision to the hinterland, taking cognizance of the fact that the numbers of beneficiaries for Life ND is just within a margin of 4,200?
Yes, we are very lucky that we have a small number. We are coming into dialogue with ADP so that they can deploy their resources in terms of human resources and the knowledge they have, so that we can engage them. ADP is everywhere as I speak. Sometimes I say you can't beat their route.
I'm talking particularly in reference to the number of
yes,
beneficiaries.
Yes.
Not ADP now, the number of beneficiaries, farmers.
Yes. What we are having in every community, we have about 42 beneficiaries per community. We are talking about 100 communities in Cross River. I think given the configuration of the ADP in Cross River, they can adequately take care of that. But should that not happen, we will engage private extension practitioners to work with the ADP and give us what we need in terms of extension, because the federal government policy is that of pluralistic, inclusive extension services. So we give that opportunity to a few private hands who may have contact with ADP to join hands with the ADP and give us a viral extension service so that our beneficiaries can succeed.
Thank you so very much.
You're welcome. Good afternoon.
Please, can we meet you?
My name is Dr. Clement Uwen.
Okay.
I am the Rural Institution Gender and Youth Coordinator of Life ND and IFAD funded projects in the Niger Delta. Life ND means Livelihood Improvement Family Enterprises, Niger Delta.
Okay, sir. What actually gave you Life ND the drive to collaborate with ADP?
Yes, Life ND came about with the very good effort of so many stakeholders, including the ADP. The ADP were at the foundation of the writing of the coming to being of Life ND. And no agricultural project can survive anywhere in the world without extension activity. So Life ND, being obviously aware of the importance of extension, had to engage the ADP. First of all, meeting with the program managers of the 6 IFAD funded states later on now meeting with the hierarchy of the ADP. The policy dialogue is meant to engage them and see areas they can help us improve the productivity of the farmers, who are mainly youth and women in the Niger Delta. And most of them are newcomers. But the ADP has a reservoir of very useful technologies which they have been dissipating and disseminating over the years. And so we are going to tap from this rich reservoir of deep knowledge in order to make sure that our beneficiaries are able to operate in a sustainable manner. And when you talk about sustainability, profit is there. So the yield we target will be able to get it from each of the enterprise that is being promoted. And that cannot happen without extension components of production.
Sorry, I'm actually delving into this particular aspect. What could have been the reason why we are having this downward turn in the activity of ADP, just like you noted?
The simple point is that ADP has not been supported over the years. You know, it was funded by the World Bank. By the time the World Bank withdrew, subsequent governments have not given the ADP the right support that they need in terms of training, logistics, and manpower recruitment. As I speak to you, the farmer extension ratio is like 1 to 3,000 farmers, one extension agent to 3,000 farming families. Nobody can survive that. Even with the best ICT, you cannot reach 3,000 people effectively when you have to do maybe something like training and visit, having to meet them on their farms. So the extension has been neglected. And unfortunately, private extension operators have come into the system, some of them without knowledge of extension. And so there is need for ADP.
Sir, for the purpose of this interview, may we meet you? Your name and your portfolio?
My name is Christopher Achong, Director of Administration and Acting Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture and Natural Resources.
Okay. So today you are representing the Commissioner for Agriculture in the exploratory dialogue, the IFAD Live ND, and the extension agent. A lot have been said. Sir, what could you actually, can you lean your voice on this all-important event, sir?
Well, just like I noted inside there, a lot has been said towards the dialogue of collaboration between IFAD and the Live Project and the Cross-River ADP. And like we're informed by the PM ADP Cross River that they have the structure. I believe that with the structures that are on ground, definitely at the end of the day, the result which we are all craving for will definitely be achieved.
So, actually not that making a case for IFAD, but a lot have been said in regard to some of the lacuna that have crippled the ADP, notably the issues surrounding the Agric extension agent, not having the veritable ground and the other tools to work with. What would the Ministry of Agriculture, as the mother ministry, do in order to ameliorate and also help in the collaboration between the IFAD in order to put the ADP into good use?
Well, thank you very much for the question. The state governor placed so much emphasis of his administration on agriculture. And I can assure you that he is doing something to ensure that what had been destroyed in ADP will be restored in the shortest possible time, knowing too well that it's only through ADP, because of the structures that ADP has on ground, that he will be able to achieve much of his agricultural policies for the state.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir, for your time.